Hello, welcome to what I hope is our last day of maple sap boiling and last active day of maple sugaring season here in New Hampshire. What a beautiful day. It is so lovely out here this morning. The birds are singing and spring is coming. Although it is supposed to snow the next 2 days. It probably won't hang around though, but that's why I'm out here today, taking advantage of the sun. It's a weekday, so I am here by myself, but I wanted to get this last round of boiling done. The maple sap collecting this year has been crazy. I don't know what to compare it to because this is my first year I've ever done any maple sugaring, so I shouldn't say it like that, but it just seems like we've gotten a lot of sap. We only tapped 10 trees in like 3 weeks ago. And they've been giving us like a 55-gallon barrel of sap per week. The first weekend we boiled Saturday and Sunday to boil off the whole barrel. The following weekend we got new equipment and we're slightly more efficient, and we boiled a whole barrel down in one long day. And now today is the third round of boiling, but the fourth actual day of it, and it's only 10 a.m. and I'm about halfway through the barrel. That's because I got started really early today. I came out and started the fire around 6:30 this morning when Bob left for work, so I was able to get things going pretty early. We were out here till about 10 p.m. last weekend, and that's because we didn't get our first things over the fire until about 10 a.m. So since I'm by myself today, I figured it would go a little slower, and we don't want to be up that late tonight. But it's going pretty quick. I feel like we're quite a bit further along in the day than in the previous boils, so I'm excited about that. But I wanted to catch you guys up on what's been going on and just check in and see how things are going. I didn't do a Transfer Tuesday this past week, clearly. You know that Tuesday just kind of got away from me a bit there. For some reason, I was feeling inspired to use that day to go to the town hall and do all of my car registration and, starting the process of changing my residency back to New Hampshire. And because I haven't been gone very long, only about 5 months, the system was not cooperating. So the town clerk actually had to be on hold with the title bureau to get it. She was trying to order a New Hampshire title for my car, but the system was showing that my account was suspended for some reason. But it took her forever on hold, so I ended up being at the town hall for a lot longer than I thought I would be, and I had other errands to do. But yeah, because I've only been a non-New Hampshire resident for about 5 months, the title bureau hadn't officially closed out my last title when they got word that my main title came through, so that had to be manually done. And then she tried it again, and then there was another error, and it was just because I haven't been gone long enough for the system to think it was okay. So basically the system was like, you were just a New Hampshire resident 5 months ago. Why are you coming? Why are you reapplying for this? In the craziness of life, obviously, I did not plan to come right back to New Hampshire, or I would not have spent all of the money to change my residency to Maine. And now all of the money I'm having to spend to change residency back to New Hampshire. But that's okay. That's kind of... I did want to do some money move updates just because I didn't do a Transfer Tuesday. And there's really 2 money moves I've made over the last couple of weeks. One involving this maple sap boiling equipment, and the other with this changing residency back to New Hampshire. So my whole stint at the town hall to get my car registered and transferring my title back to New Hampshire, that cost me $208.80. And then I needed to get a New Hampshire inspection again, and that was $45. And then yesterday I was at the DMV getting my license, and that was $60. So a grand total of $313.80. My car insurance actually lowered. It's like $120 cheaper every 6 months, I think, right around there, which is pretty cool. But for all of the residency change things. I did pull from my annual expenses sinking fund. Pulling that $313.80 to cover those expenses brought my annual expenses sinking fund down to $1,173.16. I do like to keep that at $2,000, but my 6-month car insurance and premium just came out last month, which they'll like be refunding me the old main amount, you know, at the prorated minus what I've used, and then charging me a new for New Hampshire going forward. Either way, I haven't replenished that fund from that expense, and now I've just dropped it a little further, but that's totally fine. Not worried about it. I'll replenish that when I can. And then the other money I pulled from sinking funds was from the homestead fund. Like I mentioned earlier, we did an equipment upgrade on the sap boiling system right immediately before our first boil. Bob's friend and neighbor who used to tap these trees here on Bob's property, he gave us this specific maple sap boiling evaporator pan, multi-chamber pan setup to set over the fire. We didn't know it leaked until the night before, which stinks. Like, we didn't get it until like a couple days before, just because this whole like maple sugaring was all very last second and cobbled together, much like that stove. But dang, that stove works so good. So impressed with that setup. But anyway, yeah, unfortunately that really efficient syruping specific pan leaking was a last second curveball, and we had to run to the store, and all we could find was like turkey roasting pans to use to boil. So that's what we did for the first weekend. Because of their volume, they're not the most efficient things. But then the following week, I was able to run to a restaurant supply store and pick up those like buffet chafing dish things that most people use. They're much larger, much more surface area, much more efficient, but they were an added expense for sure, as were the turkey roasting pans, which is totally fine. Those are something we'll use for years to come, as with all of the rest of the maple syruping equipment we bought this year. And I don't have a total on what I've spent on the whole maple sugaring process right now, but I will be covering all of that in its own separate video now that the season is done and we have a better idea of what we're going to be processing for total volume. At the restaurant supply store, when I got the pans, I also got better, easier ladle, a large ladle. We didn't actually have a ladle, but it's been super handy for transferring sap kind of slowly from pan to pan around the fire, and a strainer on a handle, I forget their exact term, but just to scoop out sediment and things that fall into the syrup while you're boiling. And I also got some additional like sourdough and bread making supplies as well. So I spent in total $182.21 at the restaurant supply store. So I'll break that apart between like bread making and maple sugaring for totaling the maple sugar cost. But for right now, that all came from the homestead fund. And then yesterday I was out and about and I bought more seeds. I know that's crazy, but I did. I went to another garden supply store that I hadn't been to before. And I, of course, was immediately met by the seed rack right in front of the door, as they always are because 'tis the season. But there are some things that I was realizing we didn't have that I wanted to get more seeds of. So I grabbed some more things, including newer carrots. The only new packet of carrots I got for this year was the cosmic purple ones, and all of my orange like storage carrots, the seeds that I already had are like many years old, so I don't think the germination is going to be great. So I just grabbed a fresh pack of Danvers to have some carrots. I found some white echinacea, so I have now pink and white. I need to get these started right away. Cannot wait to have so many things for tea. I'm so excited. And then I got some sage. I realized I didn't have any sage seeds. Not a huge user of that, but it will be nice. And it's a perennial, so hopefully that'll overwinter here nicely. 2 packets of kale. I had lacinato kale seeds, but not any other varieties. I definitely wanted some red Russian. I know that does really well in this climate. So we just got like a premier blend packet, which this one has lacinato dinosaur kale in it, but also dwarf blue curled, dwarf Siberian, red Russian. Okay, so 4 varieties. And then a whole packet of dazzling blue, which looks beautiful. We made kale chips the other night, and Bob was like, oh my God, these are amazing. I agree. If you need to use up a bunch of kale, just make some kale chips. They are so good. You can flavor them however you want. And then I got some turnips. I just wanted some, didn't have any. Lavender, hello, happy to find that. Why didn't I have that before? Also a perennial, so I'll find it a nice, lovely home out here somewhere, I hope. And some sunflowers, some heirloom beauties. We do have some sunflower varieties already, but I don't know, saw the packet, couldn't walk away from it. Look at all those beautiful orangey colors. Heirloom beauties. Got Lemon Queen, Autumn Beauty, and Velvet Queen. Yes, please. I know you can hear the cars going by. I am planning to use sunflowers as a barrier along the edge of this upper terrace to kind of like block out some of that noise in the summer, since we're gonna have a big, beautiful seating area and outdoor kitchen area right here. Oh my gosh. I'm getting off track. Anyway, those are the seeds I got. In addition to the seeds, I also got some plant roots, some strawberries, 2 different kinds. I've heard great things about Ozark Beauty, and then the other variety, I just grabbed a couple to try. They were real cheap, $10 for 10 strawberry roots, and the cashier told me she got some and they did just fine. So I'm excited about that. Even though I've already started a variety from seed, strawberries are just something I don't want to take a chance on, and I want to get a few varieties to see who performs best in this climate. I don't expect any bit of a harvest this year, but in subsequent years the plants will be established and provide fruit, and I will have a better idea of who grows best here. I was going to pick up some strawberry starts from a local greenhouse when and if I run across any anyways. So I grabbed some, and also some asparagus roots, green and purple, because why not, for fun. And those will obviously be a delayed gratification item as well. So hopefully those will establish well, even if just a couple of them do. And then in subsequent years will be the payoff. And I got a mixed bag of lily bulbs. And I got an attachment for the hose as well. So it has a nice long handle and like different selections for watering. Figured that's something I'm going to need. And then the last thing I got was a piece of greenhouse plastic. I got a 6mm sheet, 20 feet by 28 feet. And it was $46. So another expense, but there's already a structure here that I'm going to use as the structure of the greenhouse. So all I had to get was the plastic, and it's not going to be the permanent solution, but it's absolutely going to be handy for this spring. Until hopefully throughout the summer we'll get a more permanent greenhouse situation set up, probably at the very least some cold frames to grow cold hardy greens through the late fall and as much of the winter as we can. And there will absolutely be a permanent greenhouse someday, but for now let me show you the temporary greenhouse, or at least what will be. Give the syrup a little check before we go. Everyone's looking good, looking happy. Obviously, if there's a structure already available, I'm going to take advantage, because free is my favorite price. Even though the even though the plastic costs money, it's something I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of beyond just this greenhouse. So, let me spin around. Swing set. Absolutely, why not? It's like a really nice and wide A-frame swing set. My plan for this beauty is to just drape the plastic over the top and like have a flap at one end as the door. Bob has like plenty of stuff because he saves everything. He assumes it'll come in handy in the future, and I love that because it has proven to be true over and over, especially with the fireplace, but here as well. He's got some like old closet shelving, you know, the horrifying like white metal rack style shelving shit. Yeah, I cannot stand that stuff, and neither can he. So he has built us 2 very beautiful closets. Gonna share that with you guys as well. But the old wire shelving is gonna be fantastic greenhouse shelving. So this will be the perfect thing to limp us through this spring. He's gonna move it from here over to the flat, sunny, open yard over here, where it's going to permanently live, because after this is done being a greenhouse, it is going to be my tomato trellis. I don't know if you can see from here, but it still has the swing hooks, which I think is going to be perfect for training single vine plants. I want to try that out. I've heard good things as far as being really efficient for production and airflow and lessening pest pressure on tomatoes and just easier to harvest. I don't know. We'll try it out. Like I said, this whole year is an experiment and just getting things established, figuring out what works where, what doesn't, what's going to grow here, what's not. But I think this thing will make a great tomato bed. Underneath it, we're just going to do, I don't know, probably the exact size of the frame and just kind of square it in and fill her up with soil. And that's where some of the tomatoes are gonna live. Greenhouse structure free, tomato trellis free, plus can probably grow other things up that thing too. Certainly up the legs and across the top. The tomatoes won't care, they'll have plenty of room, plenty of sun. So yay, greenhouse. Bob's gonna come home today and move that into position. I should be able to get full use out of it starting next week, because next week is gonna warm back up. It's supposed to be about 50 degrees every day. I feel like I'm possibly a little bit behind on my seed starting already, and I kind of am. I'm a couple weeks behind. I've like fried some things in the windowsill because I didn't take the plastic seed starting tray domes off in full morning sun, so cooked a couple of things. Strawberry plants mostly, so that sucks, but there's still quite a few left that are totally fine. That royal and boil are boiling over her. Now that I'm gonna have a greenhouse space, I'm really tempted to start more things a bit early, but maybe I better not. It's really antsy to get my tomatoes started, but if it's not time, it's not time. I've just cobbled together some containers from the kitchen, as well as a whole bunch of root pouches that I had in storage. I've got them years ago, and I wanted to fill some larger ones with apple mint today because I really want some for tea, but obviously as it's a mint it needs to stay contained. But I also ran out of soil. I am gonna start my peppers today though, and some indoor cabbages, cauliflowers, and broccolis. I do have some outside already that are in milk jugs. Supposedly winter sowing just lets nature do what nature does, and they'll come up exactly when they're meant to, which is so cool. I'm excited about that. But I'm going to start some inside as well, just to compare, see who does better, and so I know for next year what method probably works better for what. So this year is just totally about trying out everything. Even all of this stuff I'm starting inside, I'm also going to just start some outside in the soil according to the seed packet. It's all about learning and just keeping a really good garden journal. Last year Bob had tried to grow tomatoes over there on the yard in buckets, and the buckets and the soil were still sitting over there. So I actually took them and dumped them all out, and the soil still looks really nice. So I put the soil back in most of them, and I tucked in some potatoes that had sprouted at my aunt's house in the basement. I had 9 gold potatoes from the grocery store that had huge sprouts on them. I did not mean for that to happen, but it did. So I thought it would be a fun experiment to see if I can grow some potatoes from the ones that had sprouted from the grocery store, which you can totally do. and I'm all about free. I'm just excited to see how they do. They're grocery store potatoes. They were bred for productivity. I certainly don't know exactly what variety of gold yellow potato they are, but free food is free food. So, and if they produce, that'd be pretty cool, because those just potatoes that went to seed and were no good to eat anyway. I'm excited about all of this. I'm so over grocery store prices. It's just crazy. As I sit here starting my seeds, I do want to say thank you to a couple of people who have chosen to donate to me directly and support me through the super thanks on YouTube. Carol and Robert, thank you to both of you. You guys are so sweet. Back on March 18th, Carol sent me $100 through Venmo, and she said, "I'm so happy for the great changes in your life." Carol, thank you. You are so sweet. That means a lot to me, and I really appreciate your support and your encouragement. And then Robert commented on last Transfer Tuesday's video, so 2 weeks ago. He gifted me with $5, and he said, "Very cool on the money find, and new chapters are always neat to see where they take us. Have a great day, Rachel." Thank you so much, Robert. Absolutely. That was a crazy find. You guys, I still am logging into Fidelity every day to like put eyes on that money, because it's like, just to make sure it's still there. I still have this really strange feeling of somehow, some way it's gonna get taken back away from me, because like who just finds out one day they have almost $30,000 additional investments that they didn't know about? Like, that just doesn't happen, but it did, and it's like embarrassing and crazy at the same time, and it truly doesn't feel real. And I do log in almost every day and just be like, okay, it's still there. Okay. It's crazy. And then on my video where I shared what I'm growing in the garden this year and all the seeds that I had up until that point, Robert commented and gifted me with $2, and he said, "Oh, Bernard, so great to hear more about the gardening, Rachel. Have a great day." Robert, you are so kind, and I so appreciate you supporting my YouTube income like that, as my YouTube income is now an income I am using to live on, since W2 work is in very short supply, which I'm okay with. Like, this maple business and the seed starting, it's all been occupying a lot of my time, which is exactly how I wanted to spend my time. So I just am living my best life over here. I just feel so grateful for how insanely different my life is in this moment than just a couple months ago. But it's everything I've been dreaming of. Like, I'm boiling maple sap behind me here. You guys, I've owned taps for over a decade, and this is the first time I've ever actually gotten to do this. And starting seeds for my own garden that's also going to be right here over on the lawn, and over on that lawn over there. You just can't see it in the moment, but I cannot wait to start like planning it out and getting it set up, which is soon. Oh my gosh, I feel like the luckiest human on earth, and it is luck. It's luck. It's obviously some element of privilege for sure, but also an insane amount of hard work that got me here, and delayed gratification that just led to this. Finally, it's crazy. And the best part is, I turned 40 in 2 days, and like, I don't know, what more could I want? What an insanely beautiful birthday. Like, I've never been afraid of aging, by the way, or I kind of used to, I guess, when I gave a shit about the beauty industry, but 40 and fabulous over here, not afraid. But just honestly, as far as like life contentedness, never been happier. And like, what a beautiful way to celebrate turning 40. Happy. Out here sitting by a fire, I smell like smoke and I'm covered in dirt, and this is exactly what I wanted. And thank you guys so much for being a part of it, and there's so much more exciting stuff to come, and thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. Bye.